solid, make sure that you are posting them into that event page, please. Jennifer? I will go full name on you. Alright. Alright, so first and foremost, thank you for coming out this morning, and good morning, guys. As you guys already know, this is the Spring Operation Legacy project that we are doing for Travis Canyon. It is a full cleanup of this area. We're hitting it twofold. We're hitting it by land, we are hitting it by water. But we do have some newbies here that will be taking part in this event. So I wanted to take a moment to kind of explain what Travis Manion Foundation and who Travis Manion is, first and foremost. So for those that don't know, Travis Manion, on April 29th, 2007, experienced Iraq War veteran of the 1st Recon Battalion and his fellow Marines were ambushed while searching for a suspect insurgent house in the Al-Anab province of Iraq. As he led the counterattack against enemy forces, Travis was fatally wounded by an enemy sniper while aiding and drawing fire away from his wounded teammates. His courageous acts allowed every member of his patrol to survive, in fact. For his actions, Travis was awarded the Silver Star and Bronze Star with Valor. His legacy continues to grow through the work of Travis Manion Foundation, inspiring others to make an impact by serving others. For those that don't know, the tagline of Travis, as well as the organization, if not me, then who? And it's something to think about on a daily basis, not just as we're here, but in our daily lives, and how we can impact those around us. And because of that, the foundation has the mission of Travis Manion Foundation empowers veterans and families of fallen heroes to develop character in future generations. And that's something to think about, because so often we forget about the character of ourselves and how we conduct ourselves on the daily. As you already know, Operation Legacy is out to do community service type events. This is the first time here in Phoenix we have done an event like this. And I think it's probably one of our largest turnouts. So that means a lot to me because of all of you guys coming out today. That shows how much you guys care about what we are doing in this community and how much community matters. And if anything, we learned over the past week how much community matters. But in addition, we also realized how important fellowship is. And that's why it is so great to see so many people and so many faces that we have not seen for the last year. Apparently I gotta keep the sky higher. I think I will lose that battle. But honestly, guys, I think if we can take two things away from today, it's community and fellowship and the importance that they are in our lives. But the other thing that this Operation Legacy projects allow us to do is honor those who served or are serving. For those that came out this last event, we had the opportunity to actually honor somebody who is currently serving because of his ties to Sunshine Anchor. Today, though, we are honoring one of the fallen service members, and so I'm going to hand that over to Levi.
Thanks, Jamie. So, bear with me as I read through this. I may choke up a little bit, so if I get quiet for a second, I'm sorry.
Some of the stuff might be a little, so I don't know how we feel with our little. I'll let parents make that decision.
Like a sailor.
All right.
I just, with the one caveat to just make sure.
You're fine.
So today we are honoring Marine Corporal Donald J. Hogan. As the only Marine in his squad to see the IED string, Lance Corporal Donald Hogan could have dived for cover and potentially saved himself. Instead, he called out a warning to his comrades and shoved the man nearest to the bomb, saving him. The 20-year-old died along a roadway in southern Afghanistan that day, August 26, 2009, but the rest of his squad survived. For his instinctive split-second heroism, Hogan was posthumously awarded the highest decoration the Navy can give a Marine or sailor, the Navy Cross. Hogan, of the 1st Battalion, 5th Marine Regiment, based at Camp Pendleton, California, wasn't even scheduled to go on the route clearing mission that day, but volunteered when the assigned squad came up short a member. He loved being in the Marine Corps and threw himself into the job with gusto, said his mother, Carla Hogan of San Clemente, California, who remains in contact with members of the squad. They called him the stress monster, she said. He was the one who was always worried about whether everyone was behaving properly or if they had all the proper equipment. Sometimes they'd tell him, "Hey, stop volunteering so much, you're making us look bad." Hogan was on his first combat tour, but regardless of inexperience, he was a deeply dedicated Marine, said Sergeant Rocky Horde, the squad leader. Hogan was the only junior Marine I had in my squad, Horde said. He had some crappy jobs and crappy hours, and the kid never complained once. On that day in August 2009, a child tipped off NATO forces that an improvised explosive device was buried next to a road in the Nawa district of Helmand province that was heavily traveled by Marines moving between a forward operating base and a patrol base. The squad moved out on foot. Hogan was up front with an electronic mine-sweeping device while a dog sniffed for evidence of explosives. They soon passed the area where the IED was reported but found nothing, so they headed back. It was a sweltering day and the squad slowed to let the bomb-sniffing dog, a Labrador Retriever that Horde says was highly reliable, but in hindsight not trained to detect the latest bomb formulations, cool off in a roadside canal. And then Hogan found what they'd been looking for. Hogan just comes to a dead stop because he sees it, a kite string, and he calls out "wire," Horde said. I could tell from the tone of his voice, "Jude, we are screwed." At the other end of the string, 25 yards away in a cornfield, an insurgent lay prone, watching them. Hogan pushes Corporal Cody Gibson, who'd been standing right on top of the thing, Horde said. He yelled and I got down. I hoped it wouldn't be too bad. Other squad members also had a split second to react before the insurgent pulled the string. Then boom, the smoke and the dust, Horde said. I could still hear all the debris, like it was raining. You couldn't see 2 feet. The IED was huge and packed with jagged metal. Horde had wondered before what it would be like to be blown up, but his expectations didn't match the reality as the smoke cleared. I have no idea what happens to your body when something like that goes off, he said. I was expecting a Rob Zombie film, but instead it felt like the most peaceful time in my entire life. You can smell everything. Your eyes are real sharp, you don't feel anything. That's what it's like being in shock. He snapped out of it and cinched a tourniquet around his left leg, which had been devastated by the blast. But blood kept pumping from a torn femoral artery. The first Marine to reach him was Gibson, whom Hogan had pushed off the IED seconds before. He cranked tight his second tourniquet and Horde's bleeding subsided. Gibson told the squad leader news he didn't want to hear. Hogan didn't make it. Everyone else is really messed up right now. In the last moments before being transported to the hospital and the ensuing years of surgery and rehabilitation, Horde glanced at Hogan's prone body. He just looked like he was there sleeping, Horde said. The death haunted the sergeant as he worked to regain mobility in the Camp Pendleton Wounded Warrior Regiment. In the meantime, Hogan's parents, Carla and Jim Hogan, had become increasingly active in the Marine Corps community around Pendleton. Carla founded the San Clemente Marine Corps Support Group, as well as a charity, Socks for Heroes, that supplies socks, which she had learned Marines tear through at an alarming rate to troops downrange. They also reached out to their son's fellow Marines, but Horde didn't respond. It's one thing when you talk to your brothers and try to play it down and say, well, it's war, he said, but what you say to a guy's mom? So I avoided it at all costs. Donald Hogan was approved for the Navy Cross in 2011, but his parents elected to delay the medal ceremony until January 2012, when the battalion, recently back from another deployment, could attend. At the ceremony, presided over by Navy Secretary Ray Mabus, Horde felt the moment had come. He introduced himself as her son's squad leader and addressed Carla Hogan directly about the day her son died. I told her, "Ma'am, I've played this out 1,000 times in my head, and there's nothing I could have done better or different," Horde said. She saw it on my face. Everything was okay. Mabus spoke at the ceremony in front of a barracks at Pendleton named in honor of Donald Hogan. But Horde said the legacy of the Lance Corporal's actions will endure in even more important ways. If not for him, Gibson would be dead. I would have been dead. I know that, he said. My son was born 3 days after that blast. He'll grow up knowing Hogan's the reason he's got a dad. I reached out to my unit. I was with 1-5 at that time. I've got some personal stories from those that served directly with him. Sergeant Thomas Prixades. He was Hogan's recruiter. He founded a vending machine at Saddleback Community College. He told Hogan that if he ever changed his mind, he would change Hogan's life. Funny anecdote, the recruiter was looking for a meritorious promotion. However, Hogan scored a 49 on the ASVAB and pissed off his recruiter because it screwed up his numbers. He states that it was still worth it to get him in the Marine Corps. The night before Hogan left for boot camp, he stayed at the recruiter's house and played Xbox all night instead of sleeping. From Corporal Cody Elliott. I was in boot camp with Donald. He was a high-spirited dude. There wasn't very many times I saw him without a smile, or stoked to come have a cigarette at the smoke pit and talk about bodyboarding waves and local surf spots in San Clemente. Our time together was short, but his impact was forever on my heart. And finally, from Sergeant Darvin Chavez. I went to SOI with him, came to 1-5 with him, a very solid brother. Everyone gave him crap, but through all that, like Elliot said, he always had a smile and always did what he was told. I always seen him running around the barracks from all the working parties, but he was the only guy who never hesitated on doing what he was told. He was a brother. He had so much heart and was just motivated. I will always miss him.
I'm not. And I read it going into this. So, Levi, I do want to say thank you. One, for taking the time to write that up, taking the time to reach out to your former squad members, and sharing Donald's story with us today. Because, again, if anything, the impact that we have through these events, you know, with what we do with the organizations we're working on, the cleanup that we're going to do around here, that's only part of it. It's also remembering and honoring individuals like Donald. Alright, so now I have to do the part that is really foreign to me. Since our fearless leader, Kevin, is not here today, and he was very sad that he is not here. This is the first Legacy event that he has missed, but he's got family obligations, and I don't want any laughter about this. I have to do the safety brief. Yeah, I said no laughing from anybody. Alright, for the water crew, I have to apologize. I did not have an opportunity to recon at all for us. One of the biggest things I am going to say, though, from what I've seen in the past, the worst areas on the water are kind of in front of the beach area. I don't know what it's like going to the east, but stay away from the barrier where it turns out. Let's just leave them alone, okay? For our land crew, when I recon this, what I found was the worst area was up on the top corner, up towards Priest. So up towards Priest in the highway area, okay? The other area is kind of along the harbor area, which, if anything, we might want to do a tandem of water and land because you can't access the docks, but you might be able to through water. We can kind of maybe try to see if we want to play something together, Jen, okay? The other thing is, two things especially for my land crew. Stay away from the little troll den that goes under the freeway. I have a feeling there's all sorts of fun paraphernalia that we don't want to touch. As well as to the west, where the wash area is, it has become a homeless camp. I do not want anybody going in there, period. Okay? So stay up towards the walkway areas. There's enough garbage for us to grab there. The other thing is, Jen, raise your hand. So, Jen's gonna be my land captain, okay? So, you guys need something, try to find Jen.
Or Levi.
Or Levi, yes, actually, I'll do Ted.
Good job.
Levi, are you going that way and I'll go that way?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Both of them also have extra hand sanitizer on them. Hopefully everybody brought gloves, trash bags, water, smiles, because I do want everybody also having fun. And you know, we've got a bunch of crossover, different organizations. We've got Rucking people, we've got OCR people, we've got just some Travis Manion people. So let's, you know, this is one family, and what an opportunity to get to know each other. Again, I cannot preference enough over the past year how important fellowship has become for us. And how much, you know, having this actual interaction and getting to touch somebody. You know, it really does mean to us. So All right, and I think as we talked about, we'll start kind of trying to come back about 9:30. We'll reconvene back here and we'll do closing fitness. Yeah, if anybody's got something, yeah.
Talk to the green shirt people because they were cleaning here. We could ask them how far they went.
I have a feeling from what I saw, they didn't really leave this area very much.
Okay, good. Okay,
So,
if we go further away, we'll be fine.
yeah, and I mean, everybody here pretty much, they know how to put miles on their feet, so I'm not worried about it. And if the land crew, if you guys want to venture over to the other side, obviously you're free to do such. I'm not limiting anybody as far as that goes. But from what I saw, it seemed like the beach area, the park area on land was kept well. The water area, it seems like that's where they were throwing all the garbage. So,
Are there restrooms on this side of the lake, or is there only one?
There's restrooms at the marina and at the park.
There's like.
I just make sure that I never have to use the facilities around here, so I have no
How are you?
idea. All right, does anybody have any questions before we break apart? Got gloves?
Those are nice nice toilets.
Anybody
Those
have
are.
any questions? Going once, going twice.
Did you say meet back at 10:30? Sorry.
No. So we're heading back at 9:30. We're meeting here at 10.
Okay?
Cool.
All right, guys, have a great